The brawl for the belt rages on here live from IEM Katowice in Poland. And we're not going to leave you hanging for much longer, as we'll jump straight in with Dahang out on the stage. He's ready to come out and see what damage he can cause. He's a bit of a mischief maker. Our second team Liquid player is here today to cause a stir, but he's facing off versus the Maestro Mandem. It's Vengeurr. Vengeurr with a funky pop beat behind him. He loves to bop to the top when it comes to the rankings, but can he come to the top today, lads?
I think this is going to be more so a difficult matchup for Dahang on the basis of just the pure skill we've seen from Vengeurr on a consistent basis. I personally think that he's going into this more as a favorite to win through just the grind that Vengeurr's been on, and the fact that he just progressively gets better and better. The edge Dahang will have is LAN experience, and the fact that he's not going to be as nervous. You know, Vengeurr is a player that has kind of expressed discomfort on LAN before, because this is not his comfort zone. Online is where he has been at his strongest, and he has looked at some points nearly unbeatable, especially in stage 1, like through and through. He had so much momentum, and he doesn't struggle on LAN, but it's definitely not where he has historically played his strongest. There's always a chance that changes today. However, it is going to be experience versus like young, passionate skill.
Yeah, I also had a moment to talk to Dahang before the match starts, and well, he was telling me that he really wasn't feeling all that confident in his own play, just overall his aim and as well as everything else that goes with it. So even though he's got the experience, he absolutely isn't feeling his best. And meanwhile, Vengeurr, he struggles breaking into the absolute top at LAN, as you just pointed out, but he has to be hungry, right? He really wants to get that first win under his belt as one of those new players to the scene.
So a crisis of confidence could be a bit of a key storyline between the both of them here then, Flea.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if that does affect things when we get underway with this one. Let's continue on with Dahang for a little bit here. Obviously, in terms of prestige and what he's done in North America, the two big names, the two brothers in arms, really, in him and Rafa. Rafa walks away with his first win versus Cypher. Can the Liquid lad live up to the hype, Brian?
I think he has what it takes to win. It's just hard to come out with a decisive point of who you think will win. It's definitely a clash of two players that are just a little bit different to each other. And you know, experience is the big thing to take away from this, most notably because we are once again in a LAN setting. That is going to give Dahang kind of that just automatic advantage when it comes to just how prepared he is for it. But Vengeurr, if he's able to put those nerves aside and put anything aside that might cloud his judgment and allows him to play the way he's been playing in Pro League, he could definitely win this, and he could totally win it with a 2-0 if he plays the way we know he can.
Let's see if that'll swing as well based off the veto, because potentially there could be some differences there. We do have the pick and bans. Flea, what are the key takeaways?
I mean, we're going to start things off with Awoken, where we see basically a repeat of what we saw earlier between Cypher and Rafa, this time Dahang being the one who gets to play the Doomslayer. And as we saw and extensively discussed earlier, that is a force to be reckoned with on the map that is Awoken, because you have so much mobility, so many of these little jumps that you can really make full use of that passive ability. So Vengeurr, he's got a tall challenge ahead of him. Then we're going to move on into Molten Falls, where we've got Strog bringing the speed on the side of Dahang, going up against the information and the piercing side on Visor.
I mean, you can never get tired of watching Dahang use Strog.
Yeah.
You know, we've said it so many times that he was kind of like the innovator and the creator of this champion. He was the one that kind of just forefronted the whole thing. And the second Strog became a crouch slider and became a lot more viable in duel, it is the use of the Pika that really separates him. I've said that before, and I'll say it again, because it is very important to the general combat side of things. But then the Corrupted Keep as the decider, BJ versus Ison. That's going to be really just a brawl, I think, if we reach that point. But will we reach that point? Well, that's the question. A 2-1 would be grand, and I mean, it would be good for all of us, you guys at home, and us just to watch more games. But it's like I said, I think the first map is going to be quite a information gatherer, just to see how prepared both players are. Is someone making some errors they normally wouldn't make? If so, you could maybe pin that to the nerves and the lack of confidence. Because when you're not confident in Quake, you second guess things. And if you second guess aim, which is a big one, if you feel like your rail's not so hot today, you're probably going to miss a lot of rails if you're thinking about it.
Yeah, it's also kind of a clash of playstyles, no? Both of these players have immense combat skills, but Vengeurr, as we all know and love about him, he goes for the flashy plays, right? He goes for the flicks, the mid-air rockets, he just pulls out all the stops, whereas Dahang is a lot more of a controlled and a disciplined player who will often favor the items and control over finishing off the frag.
Well, this game is about to kick off, so quickly before we delve in, player and scoreline prediction from the both of you.
I'm going to go ahead and say 2-1 for Vengeurr, mainly because of what Dahang told me before the match, just that he really isn't feeling all that confident in his matchup.
I feel like it could be a 2-1 to Vengeurr, and if a map is going to go in Dahang's favor, it's probably going to be the first one. Just okay. the nature of being able to have that slow burner effect if you're not very confident, it's just something to think about here. And we are moments away from actually finding out if that's even something that needs talking about. If they're both in top form, then forget we said anything. We're going to be checking out Vengeurr first with that Ranger, and he springs the fight immediately. Dahang popping the Berserk. That's just to get the hell out of dodge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dahang didn't have any weapons there to contest with. Good amount of damage coming out of the both players. Vengeurr missing the railgun, and I think Dahang probably picked up a rockets by now, so both are fully equipped, and we're going at it right away. Dahang goes down. Vengeurr cleans up the first frag. It was a close call though. Just 8 HP remaining as Heavy is about to spawn. Dahang, is he hungry for the item? Vengeurr cleverly decides not to contest for it. Excellent rail as he backs up onto the Mega. Is gonna try and hold this area down, keep positioning and secure himself a major item.
Yeah, that rail was so important for Vengeurr to land. After the fight, yes, he was able to get the first frag, but he was so weak that he realistically couldn't fight for the Heavy with the fresh spawn stack that Dahang was working with. So he's able to get some more armor. Vengeurr just able to disengage and keep things at arm's reach for just a little bit while he gets his basic stack back up. He's not going to have the Dire Orb ready for this Heavy. He's going to have to rely on just pure weaponry here, of which he's getting some excellent LG. But the rail! Dahang misses his first attempt, and Vengeurr punishes. Once again, he's quite weak, but thanks to the spawns, Vengeurr can get in and out pretty safely here.
Yeah, and Dahang manages to pick up that mega health off the spawn. The only problem he's got going right now is that he doesn't really have many weapons, doesn't have the rockets, doesn't have the rail, and Vengeurr is now taking control of the center area of the map because he wants to deny the weaponry to his opponent. Dahang still only has LG to work with, doesn't have rockets, doesn't have rail, and Vengeurr knows it's trying to trap him down near Super Shotgun. Can he find a rail angle? Indeed he can. Dahang now low and hurting, and that's a shot Vengeurr is going to hit 10 out of 10 times. 3-0. Good start for the Italian.
I mean, we haven't even touched on the fact that we're on Awoken. This is Vengeurr's home. This is his bread and butter. It's a tricky map to take. He has been able, I mean, he has lost this map in a competitive setting before. Sure, he's not undefeated, but there's just so many little unique elements that he can bring to it. He just finds these angles that you would never expect. And his rail has been his star performer so far. It's just been putting so much pressure on Dahang and putting him in terrible positions. And just like that, again, Vengeurr able to get the Heavy. Trying to set up for Mega. Goes in for a cheeky rocket jump, just in case Dahang was trying to kind of force his hand towards Mega. Somewhat of an unexpected angle there. Wasn't there, but it's the attempt. It's the fact that we can see Vengeurr's already trying the unorthodox stuff.
I love that play. Instead of just going straight for the Mega, Vengeurr instead dropped down below and then rocket jumped up to a position where Dahang might have been waiting to set up a trap or confront over at the Mega, and so he would have absolutely shot that down instantly. Beautiful rail right there. Actually knocking Dahang down, I believe. Vengeurr unable to capitalize off of it, but he will take the Heavy. His stack is enormous. In he goes with the rocket and the orb. 4-0. The lead is growing, and Dahang looking for a way to stabilize this. Luckily for him, Vengeurr missing some of these rails of the spawn, because that would have crippled his attempt at a comeback right there.
I mean, you can really see that Vengeurr, in a pure just decision-making sense, he's bringing his A-game.
Yeah.
He's consistently now catching Dahang in uncomfortable places, off guard. However, there are some rockets coming through, but the timing on the Heavy's been pretty solid. Yes, be careful here, Vengeurr, quite weak. There are a few things to stop and heal up from, but it's going to be, tricky for him to fight for this Mega.
Yeah.
Not worth giving up a frag for.
Vengeurr now having lost control, bit of a iffy weapon choice right there. While Dahang was doing consistent damage with the LG, Vengeurr was just trying to land the railgun damage and was unable to do so. So that has switched control. Vengeurr's got a decent base stack, is at the default 100-100, but it is Dahang that's running most of the items. He's got the Mega to his name and has got better positioning on the Heavy as well, but he's jumping up. The LG, instantly knocking him right back. Vengeurr doing a really good job at culling Dahang stack, and another one for Dahang, left with literally 1 point of health. I really don't think Vengeurr realizes just how low he is, because even with the heavy, a single bullet would have spelled a death sentence for the American.
Well, even if he wasn't able to quite push on and get another one, Vengeurr, he's in a good position here. And oh, hang on a minute. Close range rockets ahoy. Something that Ranger normally doesn't have to worry too much about if it's his own, but that's a good stack from Vengeurr. And again, no reason to push if you don't see it necessary. There's no huge pressure here to go, right, I have to go in and make something happen. 4 frags is a comfortable lead at this point. The Mega's just about to spawn, but as you can see, Vengeurr, he's pushing around a little bit. However, dipping round has kind of allowed Dahang to run in and take it. But we've reached this point where Vengeurr, if he is starting to be a little bit more defensive and a bit harder to pin down, he has the frag advantage to temporarily change styles.
Yeah, this is where we're hoping to see the maturity has to come out from Vengeurr right now. He has to show that he's able to slow things down, get that foot off the gas pedal. Clever play on the orb. Oh, Dahang actually gets faked out.
Psych!
Vengeurr surely still going to go down, but Dahang left with just 8 points of health. There's opportunity for a refrag right here. And the very least, Vengeurr should be able to get himself on Mega, but he probably didn't have timing. Hang on. Dahang leaving it up for some time. Looking for the punishing rail, though. This might be the start of a comeback for Dahang.
I mean, even though he got fragged in that fight, that was a cheeky play.
Yeah, that absolutely was a beautiful play, because Dahang just went for it. We're gonna see another LG battle unfold right here. Neither player willing to commit. Heavy is up and waiting, and I like Dahang's positioning right now. He knows that the armor is right behind him, and instead of going straight for it, he manifests himself in that center of the map, takes a fight, knowing that he has these big resources to fall back on if he ends up taking a lot of damage.
A significant change from Vengeurr. He has been highly defensive now. Dahang is now running a full circuit of the control. Both of the items belong to him. He's going to get an opening rail. Important for Vengeurr. Now, oh, you've seen that one before. He's not going to fall for it twice.
That's a lot of damage still coming out of Vengeurr, though Dahang definitely should have been able to clear that up with a lot more stack remaining. But fortunately for him, it happened at a time where he had the heavy to stack right back up. Vengeurr now playing a bit more of a defensive game with the Tribald. He is absolutely unable to challenge for control as the American has taken the reins back in his hands.
Now, it is a slow comeback, but it's a comeback all the same. As long as he keeps this really nice stack that he's working on, he's going to be in a much better position here. And he's just trying to look for potential. Where is Vengeurr going to be? Where's he going to retreat to? He's just keeping control. And again, Vengeurr, at this point, it's more that he is allowing it to happen. I think he fancies his chances much more of just keeping a strong base stack, hitting some long-range damage before the fight. And look, if he can get 1 or 2 frags along the way, happy days. But he is able to kind of play this long game. There's 3 minutes left, 2 frags to go. And as you can see, Dahang, he hasn't got a constant grasp over where to pin down Vengeurr. Vengeurr's constantly in a position where he's able to just get out without damaging. That is obviously a bad place to be. That opening rail has put Vengeurr in a tricky position, and he just waits until he can hear Dahang behind him. Rocket jump to safety, but again, doesn't want to fight on the pickups too much. It's a hard risk, but a wonderful rail. This could very well be another pickup from Dahang, which is then going to put Vengeurr in a tricky position.
Absolutely, and I love the railgun play coming out of Dahang. He realizes that this is the weapon that he needs to go for. Vengeurr unable to get the teleport off in time, and right now just 1 frag separating the two. But Dahang is doing such a wonderful job using that railgun to constantly apply pressure and do that long distance damage to keep Vengeurr from being able to even contest for a single item. Here we go, Vengeurr does have the better positioning, but it's Dahang with the LG that doing a lot of the damage. Good maneuvers out of the way though from Vengeurr. He's still keeping himself safe, but how much longer can he hang on to this lead?
Peeks himself temporarily just to try and get the rail out. If we miss the rail, that's a free escape, and Vengeurr is going to take that. Less than 2 minutes on the clock for Dahang to get 1 more frag just to tie things up. That's a good rocket. And the fact that he just collected the Mega, tricky for Vengeurr. Vengeurr has a Dire Orb, but he's been quite unorthodox with using Dire Orb a little bit. That is going to accomplish not much. It's done some damage, but he's not going to have it for some time. And while Dahang disengages to re-establish control and just get more of the items here. Yeah, that rail. Bad news, looks for it. Would have been a kill shot for Vengeurr, but he misses the shot. Survives temporarily, Flea.
That engagement over a banana actually could have gone really, really wrong for Dahang, but he knows where Vengeurr is right now. But earlier he pulled up around the corner with just a railgun, outlanded the shot, but if he hadn't, that would have absolutely been disastrous. Dang.
He had the right idea.
Yeah.
He had the right idea, he just didn't quite get the rail, and now with 1 minute left, Vengeurr, he's got a basic stack to work with, and the Dire Orb in play again. This actually isn't the end of the world for him. It's unlikely he's going to try and fight at one of these pickups. Like, why give that opportunity for Dahang to get damage, potentially heal up, and then get even more? That's best case scenario for him. Vengeurr is on this game.
Yeah.
Can we avoid him?
You can tell that his evasive play has been excellent so far, because Dahang has just been shooting rockets all over the map, hoping to catch a blip of damage and get all that information about Vengeurr's whereabouts, but he's been completely unable to. Vengeurr has just somewhat disappeared off the map. Dahang will catch sight of him. Nice. Beautiful rail as Vengeurr jumps across.
He needs more.
Yeah, he definitely does. 2 more will finish the job. Vengeurr has to use the orb to get through, but he puts himself in a bad position. Dahang forced to rocket jump behind him, misses, and a very important rail. This could be GG. 10 seconds left. Can he find him again?
That rail really was everything, because it just would have set up a potential here to get one more rail at the end, but Vengeurr playing the long game at an early stage. He kind of went for that shift of momentum at an earlier point than you would expect, and there was confidence there. The second he decided to take his foot off the gas in that degree, like he wasn't constantly crazy aggressive. Aggressive isn't a word.
That's sad though. Looking at Vengeurr's face in the player cam after the game, he really doesn't look all that happy with the result. You can tell that there was some frustration right there, because I think he feels like he should have been able to win that much more convincingly and should not have been forced to run away for the final minute or two and play that really defensive game. So hopefully he'll be able to do something with that going into the second map. Still, a win's a win, of course, but you can tell that he was hoping for more. Yeah,
well, 2 of the frags that Vengeurr actually conceded did come from just underneath rail, and a very tricky position where essentially the only reason he would have had a chance of surviving, even though he didn't, was because he had Vengeurr. They were 2 positions that he kind of forced himself into, and even though it was a pretty cute play where it's I throw the Dire Orb and you have to decide to either chase it or not, that is still a position where you force a guess that involves you dying. It's still a situation that can result in a frag against you, and it did twice. I think that's the kind of position Vengeurr might look back on and think, man, why did I put myself in that position? Yeah.
Still, on the other hand, I also think that Dahang shouldn't feel all too bad about that map loss. It was so close. 1 more rail hitting towards the end could have made a world of difference and netted him the win instead. So really moving into the next maps, Dahang, he shouldn't be counting himself out. Like I said, he had some issues with his self-confidence before getting into the match, but I think that he's looking overall pretty damn good, and getting onto one of his favorite champions with Staple, Strog and Peeker could absolutely help him a lot when you go up against someone like Visor who doesn't have the same kind of mobility.
Exactly, and if there was this element of confidence where you're not feeling particularly confident going into a series, one of the champions that you use the most, there's going to be comfort there, if anything. It's not something that you really have to worry about, and you can just kind of do your thing. So it's going to be Dahang versus Vengeurr. Vengeurr narrowly taking map number 1. This could be a 2-0, and this could be our final map, but Dahang might have other plans for that.
Starting things off on Vengeurr, Dahang delaying the Mega, but only so slightly. I don't think we're going to see full control emerge right away unless we see a huge frag within the first 30 seconds. Now Vengeurr looking to get himself a rocket launcher, one of the key weapons. Out comes Dahang. Dahang doesn't have a lightning gun yet, but Vengeurr doesn't have the rocket. That's some good defensive plasma right there. Takes a bad hit though. Yeah, that rail could have changed a lot. If Vengeurr had hit that one, he might have been able to just push in and basically secure himself a decent amount of control. Out comes the rail, but again, Dahang is just not hitting these shots where he really should. Vengeurr has his back turns toward him, is running away, and he's just missing the angles.
But it's fundamentally, the brain is there and the mind is in place. Like, he has the positions, and if he just hit the shot, the damage would be real. So I guess the takeaway from that is that Dahang is making the right choices, but execution and decision-making, they go hand in hand. You can't have one really without the other at this level.
Oh, that's a good play.
Yeah, he's now going to be railable until he gets some armor.
Yeah, Vengeurr just caught looking completely the wrong way. Wrong weapon out too, and then Dahang just shows up, pellets him with a good amount of damage. Out comes the Peeker too, another rail. He's railable. What can he do? Dahang, is he gonna push in? Rockets being exchanged, almost looking like a trade, but it will be the American getting the first frag of this map.
When the fights break out too, Dahang, he doesn't hesitate to pop the Pika. If he knows he is at an angle that Vengeurr, at that exact moment in time, cannot challenge, if you send out a Pika, even if the Pika gets deleted and you get one of the Hyper Blasters, like that's still free damage at the end.
Absolutely.
Damage that otherwise wouldn't have existed, and Dahang was able to get some of the harassment down there, looking to get a bit more. Vengeurr. Ooh, wait a minute, the play from Vengeurr to go to the other side. The obvious thing was to use the jump pad to escape, and Vengeurr had other plans. You think I'm going to be there? Well, I'm over here.
I always tense up when those situations arise and a player runs away with his back turns toward what could still be a rail angle. We saw it earlier as well, and I always, you know, you like cringe a little bit and you're like, oh my god, and then sometimes Vengeurr, he just finds the angle that we were talking about at the start, right? He has those flashy, aggressive, flicky plays that he just magically summons out of nowhere, and that's going to be used to tie things up. 1-2 on Vengeurr. Is he going to deny heavy or delay heavy a little bit rather? Seems like it. I think he's got a pretty good idea of the timings in his head.
And there's the audio. He's heard a little bit. Where will he be? Mega's going to be the next play. He's pretty confident he has a grasp on where he is there. Still looking for it. But at this stage, Dahang has simply allowed Vengeurr to gain control. Pika's ready to go as well, so if there is a fight, there's the chance of some of the extra damage. But that rail that he found that in that situation. Looking for another shot, the piercing sight would have set up for it, but Dahang was long gone. No angle in sight.
And Dahang's over towards LG. Vengeurr making his way to the Mega Health. He's got kind of an idea, it seems, of where Dahang disappeared to, but is unable to catch a glimpse of him or get a shot off. And now Vengeurr's got a really good rotation going. 10 seconds between the item. First heavy, immediately afterwards he picks up the Mega. Got a very, very nice route between the two. And now it's up to Dahang to throw a spanner in that well-oiled machine. And that rocket to rail combo might as well do it. Vengeurr does get the heavy. He's even deciding to chase. Out comes the Peeker. That's risky. 75 damage. I don't think it was the full hit, but still a good amount coming through. Vengeurr, very railable. Cannot contest for Mega right now.
It's good. Yeah, it's enough to slow down the pace. And that one Peeker of the drop down, another common tactic where, remember, if you deploy Peeker, you as Strog, yes, you stay in place, but you still carry whatever momentum you had. You know, if you're falling down, you'll fall regardless. So if they can't chase you and Pika's in play, it goes back to the free damage we discussed. Damaged Vengeurr enough to allow Dahang to get the Mega, and because of that, look at the difference in control. One Pika led to this whole sequence.
I'm also looking forward to seeing the first Peeker during a railgun fight, because that's also a very common tactic. You just drop the Peeker, get the Peeker itself railed, and then you can almost instantly fire your rail again before the opponent has time to essentially reload and get that next shot off. And now Dahang, full control. Vengeurr, that's a pretty good rocket. 80 damage is going to come out. It's going to slow Dahang down a little bit, but fortunately for the American, he's got a lot of resources to work with, taking over basically the exact rotation that Vengeurr had going on earlier. And now the stack on that Strog is scary.
Trying to get some more of that damage. Catch them with the teleporter, but really minimal in the exchange so far. But the Mega is in play, and it looks very likely that, Dahang just going to run in and scoop that up. Can't forget, it is a 1-1 so far, so it is going to be anyone's game. The second one of them takes momentum and we reach a little bit later on the map. That's where you can start to shift the focus. And should Dahang be the one that gets that one frag lead and he's able to play defensive, you start to have to factor in the mobility difference. You don't notice it immediately at the start of the map, but when there's time running out and it's I run away and you have to find me, but I'm faster, it's always going to be advantage for the speed.
Oh, absolutely. We've brought that up many times before. That's excellent Tribolt. Vengeurr, he is able to take a rail if need be. Dahang won't land the shot. And now it's going to be a fight for the heavy. Vengeurr a little hesitant, doesn't want to position himself right on it.
Perfect information though.
Yep, that's a good exchange of damage, but he is just barely railable and he knows that that precludes him from pushing onto the item.
He has the clock to work with. There's loads of time left, but Dahang round the corner!
Yeah.
Vengeurr looking likely that he just was not prepared.
Oh no!
Change, but hang on. Are we going to get another bonus? Bonus points! And we just talked about, should Dahang be in a position where he eventually wants to just be annoying to find? He's giving himself a nice amount of padding, especially off that third frag, which was just unfortunate.
Yeah. perfect forcing the spawn by Dahang. Vengeurr caught in the corner, doesn't have anything to work with. And now there's around 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Dahang fully stacked with Mega and Heavy to his name. And meanwhile, Vengeurr doesn't even have all of the weapons and is just determined to shoot some long distance rockets, hoping to connect anything. So far unable to though.
Some more damage coming out. Nice rail from Vengeurr. Dahang has to be a little bit nervous here, because as someone as rail happy as Vengeurr, when you've not got armor, it's quite a scary amount of damage to take. He has been able to seize one light, and it is nicely timed with the heavy in play at the same time. In and out. Dahang, no damage taken, and bonus Pika. Oh, the rail misses. And yeah, let's just can that eventually. But Dahang, you look at his Pika movement, his actual like dodging of rails and damage while he has the Pika active, it's very unlike what a lot of people do. It's so crazy, like left and right turns and stuff like that. It's kind of insane how he's able to do all of that and then still hit it bang on target.
We've just witnessed 2 missed opportunities from Vengeurr to kind of turn things around, but he was unable to capitalize off of it. This last one, he used the piercing sight, kind of stopped Dahang's momentum, jumping and flying down the stairs. But then the rockets just did 0 damage whatsoever. He had to surrender position, didn't pick up the Mega health on his way out either, and Dahang, from just having a stack of barely over 100, is now once again looking fully equipped to take home map to Vengeurr. 2 minutes left for 2 frags. It's definitely possible, but it's not gonna be easy.
Dahang is just being as careful as he can be now. Ooh, Pika! Instant damage exchange and a rail good. Vengeurr unfortunately misses his. And that could be bad news, but a beautiful 1 health!
Literally 1 point of health. Vengeurr swoops in and takes away the heavy at least, but it looks like Dahang's got a better positioning on the Mega. There's no way that Vengeurr can get there on time if the American is determined to deny it. Missing an important rail though. Vengeurr, he needs to be hitting these shots in this stage of the game.
Really nice rail coming out from Dahang once again. The question's always the back foot that Vengeurr gets put on. From this stage, he has to get 2 frags. I mean, this is Molten Falls. This is one of the larger maps. It's a bit harder to pinpoint and nail people down here. Vengeurr has been able to get access to the heavy, but it is about the not taking unnecessary risks that you don't need to at this point. We have just over a minute left on the clock.
Oh, man.
Combos. That one hurts. That one hurts a lot because Vengeurr, he still needs to try and lay some pressure on, regardless of whether he's weak or not, because he's running out of time.
Oh yeah, and he's dealing quite a bit of damage. In all of these exchanges, it's actually Dahang who manages to do more. This is where Vengeurr has to hold him down. If he keeps moving away and taking these kinds of shots, it is over and done with. I think that final frag right there is going to spell the GG. And it's just Dahang's defensive game was superior. Every single time that Vengeurr showed his face, he took so much damage. So many nice combos, rocket into rail, plasma into rail, just over and over again. Look at the rail accuracy.
And Dahang doesn't really need to care. He can use the rail all he wants because Vengeurr spawned near rocket. The rocket launcher is all he has access to.
Oh,
that was a go! Oh! That was just the final nail in the coffin right there.
The ledge, as always, claiming a victim. My goodness, Dahang, he's looking good. I was talking to him backstage earlier, and we were both watching the Rafa versus Cypher match together, and he was telling me, like, Rafa's aim is so on point, he's not missing anything. He surely can't talk down to himself anymore either, because his rail has just been absolutely on point.
And you love to see it. We are going to be going into... Wow, how about that?
Yep.
So, Dahang, after a first map that was quite sweaty for Vengeurr, I know he wasn't 100%. It kind of looked a little bit like he wasn't quite happy with how he won that.
Yep.
But victory was a victory all the same. Going into Molten Falls, it was pretty even for the vast majority of the very beginning. But at the moment Dahang pulled away, Vengeurr just couldn't quite get back up. There was that kind of like next little step he had to take, and you mentioned yourself a couple of opportunities for Vengeurr where he just wasn't quite able to get some rocket damage in the fights and stuff like that. This frag was just unfortunate, kind of felt almost like a bonus one here, and that was the frag of the game purely because of how many ring outs that ledge has claimed. In a top level play, how many pro players have fallen victim to the ledge?
A whole damn lot, that's for sure. And despite that ending, Dahang only hitting 42% railgun accuracy, I feel like he must have started off with like 5% accuracy, because towards the end that was nearly 100%, just as his nice little intro video shows. We can expect from the accountant. And on that note, I think we are getting into the final map soon. And that is going to be the tiebreaker of the decider. Now keep in mind, it is a double elimination tournament and we are still in the upper bracket, so whoever loses this is not out of the tournament just yet. But the winner, I believe, will move ahead and go up against Rafa.
Yeah, it's the match that's going to be setting up. This, if memory serves, is going to be a corrupted keep. So with it being a decider and the two champions that we've seen, especially seeing as one of them is indeed BJ, be prepared for quite an insane brawl that we're about to see in a few minutes' time. Hard to call, genuinely, Vengeurr, when it's time to be aggressive, and it's just, when you put Vengeurr in a position where he just has to go in swinging, yeah, he's really good at it. We talk about the flashiness and how he's a really stylish player that gives him those really unique angles. That's why the rail is his star weapon. But it's not the only weapon he's talented with. Dahang, I mean, we have to mention it, during the good old days of 2v2 that also existed a few years ago, Dahang was one of the star fraggers of the entire circuit. He was so good at just combat. And combat is what Corrupted Keep has in droves.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, I'm expecting this one to be a brawl. Two champions that are just tailored to do a lot of damage in close quarters. I'm expecting the dual wield versus the turret to come out. Here we go, turret instantly, Dahang. He's got the rockets, doesn't have the LG though, and Vengeurr cleverly adapting to that. Doesn't want to take a fight at close range when he knows he's outgunned, and instead just maneuvers backwards with that LG. Dahang also has the heavy machine gun already to work with. This is not a good situation for Vengeurr. He's just taking so much damage. I like the double back, but is this sustainable? He will indeed break away and make a move for heavy instead.
And the aggression was coming out from Dahang. Even with the Mega and the Heavy not in place, you need the lightning gun on this map. It is one of the star weapons, but it is that double-edged effect where you can sometimes put yourself in harm's way just to get it. The rocket doesn't hit its mark, but both players kind of weak, tending to their wounds a bit thanks to the plethora of light health that just exists. But the perfect play on the jump pad. Vengeurr back to go, and that's going to be the first frag. What does he get from it? He's quite weak. Heavy is about to spawn though.
Yeah, very clear that Dahang was not expecting Vengeurr to show that amount of aggression and disrespect almost in that situation. Coming up the bounce pad, and then out of nowhere the LG just pins him back and finishes things off. And now Vengeurr's got a pretty decent stack. Had to give up on the Mega though. Has to be careful for the rockets flying towards him. Turret comes out, won't do any damage. Backing up a little bit, hoping to get some of that long distance heavy machine gun damage on, and Dahang actually overtaking his opponent in stack more or less, but I don't think he's got the LG just yet. Vengeurr does retreat. Oh, this is becoming a close call. Vengeurr does manage to get out alive, but he's hurting.
And Dahang knows it, which is why he's all on, like full speed ahead to just snap up the Mega while he has time. Vengeurr's probably going to spend some time trying to restack, which means he's not near Mega. That said, we are going to have another fight breaking out. Here comes the Eternal Turret, just to get in the way here. We'll distract a bit, taking a lot of damage. Vengeurr has to be really careful here. He knows there's health bubbles around, so he's not going to be super shy of it. These rockets, though, every single one of those could spell disaster. And he dodges that one as well. His last-minute rocket dodges are really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
He sees it just early enough that he has time to move, and even if he doesn't dodge it all the way, minimize the splash damage. Oh, wow.
This might spell the end for the American, and indeed it will, as Vengeurr just vaults over the little ledge and finishes it off. Where is Dahang going to spawn? Down towards Plasma. Can Vengeurr do anything about it? He knows, he hears his opponent. This might be the start of some full control for Vengeurr, but that's a risky push! Can he finish it? Both players roll low, rather.
That could have been a frag for Vengeurr again.
Absolutely.
Dahang able to dodge about 2 or 3 shots, just enough. Oh my word. That one hurts as well.
And you can very clearly see neither player managing to establish full control. It's just constant exchanges of damage. A brawl exactly as we predicted. Right now it is Vengeurr doing slightly better. He's 2 frags ahead. He's got the bigger stagger to work with as well, but still unable to just control both of the major items. Heavy's about to spawn. The turret is MVP again, doing a lot of damage, but so are these rockets. Vengeurr a little too close for comfort, I feel like.
The second that super shot got at close range did 8 damage,
yep.
You know, you have to be a little bit worried, but he wasn't able to get quite what he was after there. However, there is still a 3 frag lead. This is Corrupted Keep though. You can start to snowball effect more often on this map than most.
Yeah. Absolutely, and so far Dahang's doing a really good job at preventing that snowball from even starting. very well keeping track of Vengeurr's stack and managing it time and time again. Vengeurr, very aggressive pushes. These are always risky fights when you're the person in the lead, but Vengeurr finishes it off expertly, and he's got a nice rotation setup as well. Heavy first, and instantly with the extra speed of the rocket making his way over to the Mega as well. And now Dahang, all he's got to work with is that heavy nail gun.
Oh, and Dahang is hurting again.
Yep.
He's going to go up to the next 25 stack thanks to BJ's passive, but with no armor, that's not really going to matter a great deal. Rockets, not enough.
I'm worried about Vengeurr taking these really close fights because you're up against BJ. He's got the dual wield, he's got that health regen. If you go up even with a stack advantage and your rockets are slightly worse than your opponent, you are almost done and dusted for. But again, Dahang will fall 5-0. Just 5 minutes left on the clock. He's gonna find him up the spawn. Rockets, he's gotta be wary though. Doesn't have that huge of a stack to work with, as Dahang is just going to back right up and make his way over into the nail gun room. Here we go, the heavy machine gun on heavy machine gun. This Vengeurr that's hitting the most so far. Dahang, can he escape? Will the Italian Stallion finish him off? That's exactly what's going to happen. And again, see, continuing the rotation he started earlier, getting a frag at heavy and moving over to Mega. And I understand why Dahang wants to take the fight right there, because if he gets the kill then, he can just get both of the items himself. But so far, that really hasn't been working out. And are we seeing the start of a snowball? Oh, it sure looks like it, but hang on.
Dahang gets the spawn near the nail. You can sometimes look at that and think that it's an unfortunate spawn, but depending on the stack that the last fragged player is able to get, you spawn near a plasma or nail, depending on what skin you have, and Dahang did enough damage that it just scared him away.
Yep.
And that damage, it caused a disengage too, so Dahang was able to get a little bit of, well, at least some control on deck. And Vengeurr taking a lot of damage, and his super shotgun is outmatched by Dahang. And we talked about snowball effect. There's less than 5 minutes left to go with 6 frags. On a lot of maps, you'd be a little bit worried about that. On Corrupted Keep, I gotta say, I'm not so concerned. This is totally doable, at least for the time being.
I wonder how Vengeurr is going to approach this with perfect defensive rockets to immediately change things around. Now Vengeurr actually has a stack to contest for Mega, but looks like he wants to play it passive. Keep Bellissimo is actually just trying to slow things down, even on a map as small as Corrupted Keep. I think he's already looking to play a passive game until the end and hopefully just win based on the lead that he's gathered himself so far.
If he's able to dig his heels in and make it so every frag, Dahang has to get 6. We have less than 4 minutes left to go. If it takes like a minute to get a frag each, then, happy days for him. There is going to be, all it takes though is 1. In many ways, if Dahang is able to minimize the damage he takes in these fights, which will be easier said than done with Vengeurr hitting rockets like that, you can really start to snowball it, and you'd be surprised how many frags you can rack up in a short space of time. Vengeurr, the pressure is real, but Dahang, he knows that. He has to be really careful with how he advances this, because it's not just about getting a frag now. He has to get more and more, and if he's taking too much damage, he has to disengage, and that gives Vengeurr time to spawn, get armor, and get weapons.
And a big part of the snowball on this map is, of course, because there is no railgun in sight, and that railgun, as we saw earlier, was such an important part for Dahang's defensive play, constantly culling Vengeurr's stack and keeping him on the down low every single time he showed his face. But unfortunately, he will not be able to do so in this map. And here we go, the rockets are being exchanged massively. That turret, though, that did too much damage to Dahang. With just 2.5 minutes left to go, he's just gonna go for it. Double super shotgun, but Vengeurr is proving to be slippery as he makes his way across the map once again.
I mean, the turret has lots more of that hidden utility that exists. Dahang's in a weird position now where he has to push on and he has to get frags and has to minimize all the damage he takes along the way. If you're trying to take out a turret and it's shooting you, that's damage that you just really don't want to deal with. Perfect time to get a frag though, because now he's got the Mega, he's got plenty of armor, doesn't quite get the spawn he's looking for there. But hang on a minute, fresh off the spawn, Vengeurr, the rockets, yeah, Dahang, he can play no games, he cannot mess around.
I actually really like Vengeurr taking a stand right there. Vengeurr almost knocking his opponent off the map, and he knows it. Can he do anything more? No, he is going to disengage, but I love the stand that he took at that top armor. Instead of just continuing the runaway game, he just said, you know what, I'm just gonna go in for the damage. Even if I die right here, I still have a buffer of 3 more frags after this, so if I do a lot to you right here and I spawn on the other side of the map, I can maybe pick up a major item and take you on instantly. And I love the play right there, Dahang now. He's almost in desperation mode. This is time to chase out of rockets, can't even get the rocket jump up, and Vengeurr, he is just escaping over and over again.
And this should be a done deal with how Vengeurr's been playing this, unless Dahang is able to score a miracle, get a frag right now, and just get a bunch of good spawns. This is a pretty hard task, really. And Vengeurr, the pressure's not really on him. Oh, that rocket can't quite do it, but Dahang's in a position, has the health, the rocket jump. This is tricky. It's wasting time. It's taking too long to get these frags, and Vengeurr. The evasive game has been great. The turret, unfortunately, has weakened Dahang to the point where a refrag is going to be really tricky. Even if he spawned in here, the advantage would have been in Vengeurr's favor because he just has way more stack and a nail gun. It's possible if he gets one now, but again, Vengeurr is not going to make it easy, and he is going to run for his life.
You can tell Vengeurr is just really taking up that comfort position right over at the rockets with like the banana hallway leading downwards. Here he can drop the turret back away and then just take the fight in the choke point by using the rocket launcher, knowing that it's up to the other player to try and chase him down. And with 30 seconds left and 3 frags to go, Dahang, he needs to make this one happen. He does. This is still absolutely within the realm of possibility.
2 frags in now less than 30 seconds. 20 seconds, in fact. Vengeurr, he's got a good stack, though. Yeah. And he had rocket launcher spawn.
And look, again,
perfect location.
Taking the same position over and over again because he knows how well he can defend it. Dahang, can he do anything about this? That is going to be the GG. He is going to call it too. And Vengeurr taking the win over the American, moving on into the semifinals.
But until the very end, he had to fight tooth and nail for it. That was an incredibly close series. Vengeurr ultimately getting the win. I know Dahang's going to be disappointed with that, but Vengeurr, it's all about the change of styles, the evolution of just how much skill he's developed in Quake Champions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And maybe at long last, this could really be Vengeurr's tournament. He's looking fresh, but of course the challenge ahead of him, Rafa of all people. And I don't know, the way that Vengeurr's been playing so far, he needs to step it up a little bit, because you need to play to perfection if you want to put a dent in the monster that is Rafa.
But to give Dahang his props, I mean, he gave him one hell of a competitive series.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's going to be disappointed that he didn't get the win, but I mean, the Molten Falls was a perfect display, a masterclass of just how talented both he is and how insane his strog is at the high level. It really is kind of a step above everybody else's, in my opinion. But that final map, Vengeurr, the fact that Dahang was even in a position where he almost brought it back, with the fact that 5.5 minutes in, he was 7-0 down.
I mean,
he made that close.
I mean, as I said earlier, Dahang told me he was not feeling all that confident in his play. I don't think he has anything at all to feel bad about. He put up an amazing performance, got some really sick frags, very nice and controlled gameplay, and as you said, almost making the comeback happen at the very end right there still. So he's got nothing to feel bad about.
Let's rewind it a little bit back to Awoken as well, because there was one very key play that I just wanted to touch on because I thought it was incredible at the time. The bait play with the Dire Orb that we saw coming out from Vengeurr, where he went in for the execution, it all just went wrong at the last second. How beautiful was that?
I mean, that was just a beauty, right? That was a sight to behold. He almost got away with it too, just throwing the orb through. And I guess that Dahang must have just been like, he's absolutely going to go for it. If he stays, he's done. There's no way he can get out. And so he just rocket jumped away, tried to get out there. And Vengeurr was just like, you know what? I'm going to hold this a little longer.
He loved it so much, he tried to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know about the second time, though. Maybe he should have changed things up a little bit.
The second time, Dahang basically went, nah, mate, I've seen that before.
Yeah. Like, I know exactly what you're up to, not again.
But it kind of shows perfectly, though, the edge that Vengeurr can bring is that he will do these very strange little things that a lot of players either wouldn't have thought to do, or they don't do because it's seen as too risky, or maybe it's not worth it. You get fragged by something and go, are you mad, man? I can't believe you did that. That's kind of what Vengeurr's bread and butter is all about. He's not afraid to kind of put those little things forward. But this second map here was, yeah, this was just a masterclass of strong.
Oh, yeah.
That is why Dahang is that next level. The final map, Corrupted Keep. It's like I said, the fact that Vengeurr was running away with it 5.5 minutes in, Dahang, it was 7-0 down. It truly was remarkable that he made it as competitive as he did. Like, that was way closer than perhaps it should have been. But it was Vengeurr going in with a change of styles. Vengeurr is one of those players that, when he kind of first came onto the scene a little bit, we started seeing more of him, kind of like an early Razy in that respect, where he's one of the slightly younger players. Definitely in Vengeurr's case, is the youngest player we have in competitive right now anyway.
I mean, we said at the start that the last map was going to be a brawl. It absolutely was. But just Vengeurr punched harder. He just did more damage at the times where it really mattered, and that gave him control for most of the map.
I think it also showed the refinement that you're talking about there, Ryan, because, you know, we saw him just start to snowball with the smart, more calculated plays, playing off the back of the major items, you know, didn't need to do anything flashy, realized he had a 3-0 lead and just played consistently, which definitely is backing up the fact we're seeing this more refined golden god version of Vengeurr at this event.
But I think if he plays like this throughout the course of the tournament, it's kind of like what we said about Rafa, but in a slightly different way, I suppose. That Vengeurr, he's a player that you can always pin him as like one of the favorites. He may not be the absolute favorite just by how he's previously done on LAN. I think if he was able to emulate his online performance with his LAN performance, he would be more of an immediate, oh yeah, this guy's going to win. But with this today, he's playing really well.
Yep.
And I think that if he brings that energy to Rafa, he could totally take it. But there's no denying that it's going to be a really hard matchup.
Oh yeah, hopefully he can just use the momentum that he gained from this one and really just shows to himself like, hey, I can do this, okay? I can really make it into that top 5, not only on the online stage, but also just in the LAN phase and really stick it to the very best in the world. So I really hope that Vengeurr can finally bring it and show us exactly what he's capable of.
Time will tell, Flea. He had a sigh of relief after he took that best of 3 series, but Vengeurr did win it in a 2-1 scoreline over Dahang. More to come, however. We're going to be slotted straight back in with more of our semi-finals here from the Stage 2 Quake Pro League finals after the break.